Remember the multiple intelligences that we did. And remember the arts and sciences that we just did in terms of those 10 subject areas. Now I want to show you something. When you're dealing in the classroom and we're teaching our children, we should walk into the classroom with these multiple intelligences. For example, I have a student in my class, I give a test, and out of 10 questions, they get 9 wrong. The teacher of the class says to the student, "You failed. You don't understand rate times time equals distance." The young man feels kind of frustrated, upset, goes out to the basketball court and starts to shoot hoops. Pretty soon, in his frustration, he starts to focus and he gets net ball. In other words, that whoosh, it don't touch the rim, don't touch the backboard, it just goes straight in. Well, for that young player, that young brother, to be able to do that, this is the basketball court, basketball, and this is the brother. He's throwing the ball, it's going in the hoop. For him to have gotten that ball in the hoop, that young man would have had to have mastered the rate that he threw it times the time it's in the air and determine its distance. So does that young man understand rate times time equals distance? Or did he just not understand it the way I asked him to give it back to me? He does understand it. In fact, not only does he understand it, he understands it very well. In fact, not only does he understand it very well, but he can actually take the principle and bring it into motion. When this young man starts to use the backboard to go in, now he's added geometry, because now he started doing angles. And now he knows where he has to throw it to create the kind of angle that will have the ball go back through the hoop. So now he knows geometry. He knows rate times time equals distance. He knows, in fact, not only does he know it, he being it. He literally is taking that formula and he's being that math. So that the kinesthetic intelligence would say to me, if I was in a classroom, I want to take the basketball coach, the gym teacher, and the math teacher, and I want them all to come together. And I want them to do some staff development on how each of them can help each other and that young man and woman in classroom do their mathematics, because they're doing math on the basketball court. I have a situation where I have a student, and the student, I'm teaching fractions. Student is not doing too well in fractions. In fact, the young lady, out of 10 questions, she gets 8 wrong. And the teacher says to this young lady, "You know, you don't understand fractions, and you failed." So in her frustration, she puts her headset on, and she goes out, she starts to sing. She sings Alicia Keys. She sings word for word, note for note. This young sister sounds good when she sings. Well, that young lady could not even have started that song without a fraction, because she got to know if it's 2/4 time, 3/4 time, 4/4 time. Music is nothing but the manipulation of mathematical principles. In fact, every musician is a mathematician, but every mathematician is not a musician. The reason why I'm saying this is because long before we get into the content material of our history and our culture, as educators and as parents, we have to know that every bathroom and every kitchen is a science laboratory. And if you want to help your child in science, just let them help you cook a meal or wash a dish, because you're using principles that teachers teach children in science class. If we start to implement certain principles of education in our home, automatically they're learning things that they need to learn. So I want to start with the multiple intelligences, and I want to start with us understanding, first of all, what education is and what it is that we're doing when we learn. Why are we in the classroom? Why are we spending this time in the classroom in the first place? Okay? See, fundamentally, I believe we should start here and build up. Because I can always come back and talk to you about Egypt. I can always come back and talk to you about the Moors and about the Dogon. But I want us to start from ground zero. And ground zero is, why are we in the classroom in the first place, and what's the purpose in life?